we are here to discuss about MSBI, and MSBI consists of three components basically. So one is for creating the reports, the other one is for performing the ETL operation, and the third one is for the data warehousing part. So the one which is meant for creating the reports is known as SSRS. The one which is meant for ETL operation is known as SSIS. And the third one for data warehouse operations is known as SSAS. So we are going to learn about SSRS right now. Okay, so let's just start about it. So we are going to look into report development and report development studio. So what happens in SQL Server is that till SQL Server version 2008 R2, the development platform or the IDE was Business Intelligence Development Studio, which from the version number 2000, which from SQL Server 2012 onwards is now known as SSDT or SQL Server Data Tools. Okay, so once we have our SQL Server installed on our systems, we can just look into how it is configured. So we have the SQL Server installed on our system, and to work into reporting services we have to work for SQL Server Business Intelligence Development Studio. Or if we were working in SQL Server 2012, we'll have to work on SQL Server Data Tools. Okay, now this one is based on Visual Studio 2008 and this one is based on Visual Studio 2010. That is what we need to understand. And we have to look for commands, and the basic process of creating a report is something like this, wherein we have to select a tool. Okay, so the tool in our case is going to be SSRS, the SQL Server Reporting Services. We have to acquire the data. So the demo which I am going to show you is with the SQL Server as the backend. Then we need to design the layout in our tool. We need to look at the preview of our report, and then we need to deploy the report to the server over there. Okay, so next, to create a report, we have various projects type, and there are various project items which are associated with a particular report. Okay, so now if you look for this project types, one is a wizard, the other one is a model, third one is a server project. So if I just show you how to go about working on it. So I'm working on let's say suppose SQL Server 2008 R2. So all I need to do is I have to click over here. Okay, and then to create a new project, I can go for new project. Now project may have one or multiple reports associated with it. Okay, so that's what my purpose is over here, to have multiple reports tied up to my project over here. So if I just go ahead and say I create a new folder over here by the name of report project. Okay, I have to just select the folder, and here in the three templates which I see for the business intelligence projects, there is the same Visual Studio which we use for creating our .NET projects, ASP.NET or Windows projects, but right now I'm going to use it to create my report serving reports. So the three templates which I used for creating a report is report server project wizard, report server project, and report model project. For a developer point of view, we have a report server project wizard and report server project. So as we say that wizard is something which is going to expedite our report creation. Okay, otherwise there is no difference between a report project wizard and a report server project. And the other one, which is a report model project, is for end users. This is not concerned with what a developer would do. Okay, so let's just go for a simple report creation using a wizard. Okay, I'm just going to create a report one right here. Now I need to create a backend as well, so I'll have to log into my SQL Server machine. So I'm going to connect to an instance on my machine right now. Okay, now there is a machine instance and you can see the databases which are attached to my machine right now. Okay, so let's suppose I'm going to connect to this AdventureWorks and I have some kind of a procedure over here. Okay, so let me see a list of it. Let it be a procedure by the name of this one. Okay, let me execute this. Okay, let me see a procedure which is not expecting any kind of parameter. I will go for procedure just for a simple parameter over here, a parameterless procedure right here. Let me see something which is going to give me more number of results. So I'm not getting any procedure which is of substantial nature over here. So what I'll do is I'll just create let's suppose I'm going to take a table over here and let me look for it. Okay, so these are the number of columns associated with it and I have 290 rows with it. Okay, so what I need to do is I will just copy this particular query over here and take it down to my this particular place. Now before that I'll have to select the data source. Okay, so for that purpose I'm just going to write over here and I need to edit this particular data source. So I'll have to establish a connection over here. I'm going to connect to this server. I'm going to use the SQL Server authentication over here. And I need to connect to the database. So I need to connect the database over here. I will test the connection. Succeeded. Click on OK. Fine. So I will make this a shared data source so that more than one of my reports is going to connect to the same report. Okay. Look. Here I can just write something like this. Okay. Select. It's necessary to write something. So I'll just keep it a blank one over here. And herein I need to use a control, either a tabular or a matrix. Okay, so the basic difference between a tabular and a matrix is in a tabular kind of reports we have a variable number of rows but a fixed number of columns. But if I take the case of a matrix, the number of rows and number of columns both are variable over here. Okay, so that's the basic difference. So I'm just going for a tabular, a basic kind of scenario right here. Okay, and then I click on finish, and this is the report one which I'm going to create. So I will just click on finish over here. Once I've clicked on finish, what I see over here is report. I need to delete this one. This is just a data set which I created last time around. Now suppose I'm going to create a data set for this report. Okay, and a data set is a query which is going to give me a result. Okay, so I need to create a data set for employee. I'll just name it. I'll just use it as a data source embedded in my report right now. I'll use the same data source which I had created in connection for, and in my query designer what I will do is I'll just write down the query over here. Okay, now you can see the columns which are being returned over here. Okay, now all these columns can be inculcated in my report right here. So this is how my column would be right here. If I just go to delete the earlier, delete the dataset one which we created earlier one, I just deleted that. Now if you see, this is a shared data source. Okay, if I want to make this data set as a shared one so that this can be used by other reports as well, all I need to do is I just need to right click over here and convert it to shared data set. Okay, but this is what I will be using only for this particular report, so I'm not going for creating a shared data set right here. Okay, so next we need to create a, suppose this is a report. So if we see in a report that there are a few pages which are repeated on each and every page, like the heading of a report. Okay, the parameters which are going to be used in the report, though we are not going to use a parameter right now, maybe few seconds later on, a few minutes later on, we'll go ahead and create a parameter. And then the page number. So these are the things which are there on each and every page of the report. So what I need to do is I will go ahead and insert a page header, and I will go ahead and insert a page footer. So once you see right here, I have a page footer. So on a page footer, what I will do is I will put a page number right here. Okay, and in my page header, all I need to do is I need to put a text box, and herein I will mention what I need to do in my text box over here. I can adjust the font of this particular thing right here, either through this one or through my properties window right here. So the properties window, it is being identified as text box 2. Okay, this one is identified as text box 2 over here. I can get the properties. If I don't have this box over here, I can just press the F4 key on my keyboard and I can get the properties, or I can even work on this toolbar. So I want this to be a bit larger, I want this to be a bit bold. Okay, if I want to change the color of it, it was black earlier, let me keep it that way itself. If I want to change the font of it, okay, this is the background color. So all kind of modifications can take place. As well I can center this one, center align this part. Okay, now this is something for the page header and the page footer. Now if you see, there are various things right now in my report regarding an employee. Okay, it's a simple query which I have taken, no joins were created in the SQL query, nothing as such. It's just a simple query wherein I have the details from a table right here. So all I need to do is I need to put in the, suppose I have taken the table over here, fine. Now whatever field I drag and drop over here on this particular report, this is the header. So depending on what I'm putting down over here in my data field, a header will get created over here. If I have to add another number of columns, so what I need to do is do like this, and a new column will get added. If I want to add some column in between, I just need to drag and drop. So this will be it. To further expand this report, I can look for, say, marital status, gender, I can adjust the length as well of this particular box. And if I want to make a particular selection of a number of rows and now do the modifications somewhat. Okay, so you can now see the report, and if I want to center align it, I can do that right here. All these are IDs, so IDs are mostly, as far as I remember, these are left aligned. Okay, now let us see the preview of this report, whatever we have created till now. Now this is how our report looks like. Okay, so looking at the report, okay, we can just make some other modifications as well, like this particular portion. I can adjust the length and the sizes right here. Okay, now if I look at the preview of this report, it is something like this. Now if I want something to replace marital status, or instead of male or married or single, it should appear like this, married or single. What I can do over here is, in my design portion itself, I can go ahead and in the expression window, I can write an expression over here. So it is if, okay, is equal to, so this has to be within double quotes, then what has to be returned is married. So when this one will be within double quotes. Okay, now if you look over here, there is a second field as well. So else we can return it as fields or something like this, and marital status, and we can close this. Now instead of looking or typing the entire field, I could have even gone for fields over here and selected a marital status field from right here, like I will show you. Now this is something which will happen right now. If you see the preview of the report right now, this is how it will come out to be. Okay, there is error in this particular thing where it was S is showing an error right here. So if you look for this expression right here, so you can see it's an expression right here. Okay, if I look for this expression right here, so I will have to use dot value over here instead of simply marital status. So it should be dot value. So there are many properties of a particular field as well, so I'll have to use that. So if I now look at it, it will be married or S. Now S stands for single, so I can even do what we call it as nesting over here. So if it is S, if, and now what I can do is I can make it as a parameter what is being returned over here. If this particular thing is equal to s, then return a single, s, in the fields part make it as marital status dot value. Okay, so this is what we have done. This is the expression which we have written right now. I'll click on preview right now to look at the preview of this report. So it's again single and m right here. So there's something which I'm doing wrong over here. Let me just check the expression. Now if I look at the preview, I will have replacement for both married and single, isn't it? Similarly, I can do changes for M and F over here. Okay, the same way as I did for marital status. Now this is a text field, so text is always center aligned. So I will select this particular box and make it to be center aligned over here. Okay, now the same way there is a login ID. So for login ID you can see this is the expression right here, isn't it? And similar expressions I can make a changes right here. So that's something about it. Let me make an employee ID to be center aligned and national ID to be also center aligned and gender also to be center aligned. Okay, so this is how my report is going to get created right here. Now if you see over here, this is a page number. If I look at the preview of the report, this is a page number, and if I look for second page, next page, and even on this page I have the page header and the page footer, but my page number is changing right here. Now suppose I want to make this page number as something like this. I want to use a built-in field. This is a built-in field, the page number, and I have to write this page number of the total number of pages. Okay, so you can see this is can be used only in a page header or page footer. Let me take it as overall number of pages. Okay, so that's what an expression is right now. Okay, that's what is happening. But if you now see, this is a number, even this one is a number. Okay, but this one is a string over here. So what should I do over here? Will this work? You think it will work? Is to unknown property name. That's what it's telling me. Okay. So what I need to do is I need to convert this to string. So what will this happen is this will convert this expression to a string over here. It's coming as 1 off. So let me see another expression. So I can write it right here. Not an issue. Yeah, so it's coming out as correct. Page, I can even write page 1 of 7, page 2 of 7, something like that expression, whichever is suitable to me, whatever is the format required of me. Okay, I can write it right here. I can just write it over here as page and if I look at the preview, I can write it as page 1 of 7 or page 2 of 7. Okay, fine. So that's what I can write here, and even in my gender expression I can write the same replacement as I did earlier. That is, for if this particular value is equal to m, replace this value with a return male. So even this has to be within double quotes. Otherwise, so fields dot or value is equal to, then it should return and I have to close this particular bracket as well. So that's it. Okay. So that's what my report is going to be like. So this is simple report which is coming out right here. Now if you can see, this is based on my this is a simple employee report. Now if I want to find about any parameters, I have to input all the parameters, or I have to find all the employees reporting to a particular manager. Okay, so I will have to input a certain kind of parameter right here, isn't it? So for that purpose, what I will do is I will insert a parameter right here, add a parameter, wherein these are the options available to me. Okay, so I'm going to input a suppose an integer value. Okay, and the name of the parameter is going to be manager ID, and it will be prompted as manager ID itself. I'm allowing only single value right now. It's going to be visible. Okay, if I want to put any kind of default value, so let me put a default value as 16 right now. Click on OK. Okay, so the name cannot have spaces right here, so you can see this one. This one should not have any spaces. Okay, I won't put any spaces right here. Now if you see on the preview of the report, I'm setting this as 16, and when I'm clicking on view report, it's not getting filtered according to it. So for the report to get filtered according to the parameter, I will have to link this parameter over to the report right here. I can go over to this data set. Okay. And I can write it as where manager ID is equal to @manager ID. Now if I look at the parameters, now this is a manager ID parameter. I'll have to link this one with this one itself. I'll click on OK. Now if I look at the preview of this report, now I have only employees who are reporting to this particular manager over here. Okay, so my report is getting filtered like this way. Okay, fine. Now I can also have multiple list of parameters right here. Now this one is a single parameter. I can allow null values, or I can allow multiple values. Now if I allow multiple values, I'll have to make changes in my query right here. So I'll have to write this one as in. Okay. Fine, so I have to make some changes in my query too, in the filters, in my parameters. So this one is for the first value. This 0 denotes the first value. Looking for all the values. So I'm looking for all the values over here. Just a second. Now I'll have to look into this multiple value list. Okay, I will look into this multiple value list, how to look for it. Okay, and let me keep it as equal to itself right now. So that's how our report is coming out to be. Okay, now when we have the report, what we need to do is we need to deploy it to the server. Okay, for that particular thing, what we need to do is we need to have this report, go to its report properties. Okay, and then look for the server URL over here. I need to change the server URL. So how will I find a server URL over here? For that particular purpose, what we need to do is we need to go to all programs. Okay, SQL Server 2008 R2. Okay, now over here we have something called as configuration tools. Within it we have report services configuration manager. So while deploying or reporting services, if I have pre-configured it correctly, so this will be my report server instance, and this will be my report server where my report server is getting deployed. I have to go for the report manager URL. Okay, so this is the location, and as well as there is something called as web service URL. Okay, so what I'll have to do is, if you look on this particular link right here, I've just clicked on it. I'll have to log into the server, so it will take some time for the report server URL to start up and be displayed right here in front of me. Now this is a place where I have to deploy my report. Okay, so what I need to do is I just need to copy this URL over to my report. This is my target server URL which I am going to copy. Okay, the target server version is SQL Server 2008 R2 itself. Okay, and it's while I have already deployed my report and trying to override it or trying to deploy it again after making some modifications. Do I need to override my data set, override my data source? I'll have to give these settings for it. Okay, so these are meant for the second instance where I'm trying to deploy the same report again to the same destination. Okay, so I clicked on OK. All I need to do right now to deploy it is build. One is to build is just to see whether there are any errors in the report or not. Okay, and the other one is to deploy over there. So if I click on deploy right now, you can see the status right here. Deploy started. It's ready. Okay, now if I go to the deploy, So you can see this report one right here. Okay, if I want to look at this report, I'll have to click on it. Have access to a server right here. Okay, this is the parameter which I need to fill in. I have to click on the view report. That's okay. And you see the preview of the report as it's being seen on the server. So we have a 2D architecture over here. There's a report server, and we have a backend wherein we have the database. Okay, so this is a report which is being deployed to the report server. Now this report can also be extracted in these particular formats to a Word, Excel, PDF, whatever formats we need. Okay, and this is very simple report which you created right now. And yeah, so this is a place where we have to deploy the reports, but the place where we can access our report URL is what is called as report manager URL. You have to use this report manager URL to access the report. You can see the difference between the look and feel of these places. This is a place how we access this report. This is a place where we have this report server, and this is the report manager URL where we are going to look at the report. Okay, now this is the report which we deployed right now. You can look at the preview of it right now. This is how it's going to look in the browser. So all the reports on the report server are going to be accessed via the browser over here. It's getting a connection to the backend, and it's going to deploy the or show me the report in the browser itself. Okay, this was regarding reporting services or SSRS, SQL Server Reporting Services. This is one of the components of MSBI. We have SQL Server Analysis Services for the data warehousing portion and SQL Server Integration Services for the ETL portion.